Yes, sir. How are you? After long.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have become a serial entrepreneur. So how can I keep in touch with you? You have
Come
done
on, sir.
so many
Not
things
so.
you're doing. Okay. So I thought, okay, let me listen. And I was not sure. I sent you a message. This link was for yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And initially, I said it showed waiting list. Then when I logged in, this says this meeting was yesterday at 7 o'clock. So I just sent you a message. But I'm glad you're able to open it because
Sorry, I did not see that.
no
Today
problem.
was
Any I've
Thursday
gotten,
morning.
no.
I have a training.
I've gotten. Mhm.
Then after that, I
Now
have
with Shraddha Sharma and Microsoft, so I thought, okay, uh, if I have to come
going
for a
on, sir, with the God grace.
damn good, very good. Hmm. So am I the first person who got? Okay.
Hey Achyut, hi, good evening. Hey Shiv, hi, good evening.
Great.
Hey
Good, Raj. Good
everyone.
to see you here.
Yes,
Oh, so I'll log off. Rest of people are no without video, so you and Shiv are running the thing, so I'll stay off.
Nothing like that. So
no,
it's
no, no.
open-ended agenda. We are not
I
promoting
think everyone
anything,
should
nothing.
turn on the video.
Oh, okay.
Everyone can turn on the videos. It's definitely no sales call, no
It's
promotional call.
it's
We're not
like a
going to
chai
promote
time
anything.
charcha.
We're just going to understand the pain points from the recruiter point of view while having the ATS in place. Why are we using still Excel? And at the same time, the benefits of using Excel or the benefits of using uh, ATS or ATS over Excel or Excel over ATS. So it's completely an open-ended agenda. So there is no fixed agenda to it. It's all about understanding from people point of view.
But I noticed only three people have got the video. Okay, not the remaining 10. So I'll
They
go off.
will slowly,
I'll give you when I have to give an opinion. I'll come back. Okay, I'm
definitely,
listening.
sir. Yeah,
Can
yeah.
write we are with the family and everything is messed up in the background. So that's the reason we're not coming on a video. Few of us.
Awesome, we have Shiva. Hey Shiva, thank you for starting to switch on your video. Let's see if more people join us.
We have a decent enough registration around 80, 85 registration at least. 50% of the joins means we still have 30 to 40 people joining us today. So my workstation has become completely mess. Here and there. We also have Ashutosh from Job Offers. Ashutosh, you are here?
Hey guys, hi.
Yeah, yeah, please come. So I met Ashutosh in the last event at your story Bangalore.
Yeah,
So they also have quite an amazing ATS. ATS is Ashutosh, is it?
it's a smart ATS technically.
It's a
We are
smart
just being
ATS.
trained for ATSs.
Awesome. Now people are asking for the passcode. Let me just share a passcode with them. Let's give another 2 or 3 minutes as we just shared the passcode. So expect a few more joining. And I'm accepting actively over here. All right. So with the list of around 20-23 people, what would we have? Shall we get started? Or shall we give few more minutes for others to join? We still see people are joining, but instead of wasting time, let's get started. So, hello team, this is Tim here from Sourcing Express, and I have a couple of people like Raj from Red Sea, then I have Shivkade, then I have Ashutosh Tiwari from Job Offers, then I have AK Menon from Options India, who has been one of the India's most influential person from the HR industry, and then we have a lot of other interesting folks also in the industry who are here today just to understand Excel over the ATS or over ATS over the Excel. Basically, there is no agenda in this meeting. What we're trying to understand is from the people and uh, why is that Excel over ATS or ATS over Excel? Even though my company has invested so heavily on the ATS, but why is my manager still asking me reports on the Excel? Or why is that I'm still sending the reports on the Excel? Or why is that I'm still maintaining a data on the Excel? So we just wanted to get to the core of the recruiter's job, the core of the recruiter's shoe, and understand the pain point Excel versus ATS or ATS versus Excel or both. So that's where I leave the agenda open. And to start with, we'll start with a step by step. I have a couple of questions curated from Raj, and then we'll drive the discussion. Ashutosh, if you also wanted to add some of the questions, you can feel free to add because I see both of you. Means it's like a two versus whether 30, 40, 50, or 100, whatever you say. But thanks for joining over here. But yeah, I think
I think
you guys
Shiv,
are the one.
let's not assume there might be 26 people who are using an ATS. So you might be the only one outside.
Okay, I'm using Excel, I'm using ATS both to be honest, but I'll tell you my use case where I come from. But at the same time, yes, you guys are the one who are actually going to show us a path, and at the same time, we are the one who are going to discuss the problems with you. So I would love to see you taking up the problem in a positive way and coming up with the solutions for that. All right. So yeah, with that,
Yeah.
let's say uh, how many of us are using ATS first of all?
If I'm
Let me just
using, if
raise
Workday is an ATS, I'm using.
okay, let me just raise a call.
Yeah, Shiv, I am also using Workday as a video. So sorry, I just raised my hand. I'm so sorry for that.
Okay, the question is, are we using ATS?
We should actually add 3 or 4 options, Shiv. One who are just using ATS, one who are just using Excel or spreadsheets, or the one who are using both.
Okay, are we using ATS or Excel or both? That's what the question is. I am using only ATS. I'm using ATS and Excel. I'm using only Excel. I don't use anything. I work on the fly. All right. So there's a call on your screen. Just take a look at it. Are we using ATS or Excel or both? So options are I'm using only ATS, I'm using ATS and Excel, I'm using Excel, I don't use anything. I work on the fly. I want to see that superstar who just work on the fly without ATS. Awesome. We have one superstar who is not using ATS, who is not using Excel, and who is working on the fly. Amazing. Great. Good to see the results. 70% of the people says that 71% of the people says that they're using ATS and Excel both, and there are only 8% of the people who are saying that they only use ATS, and there are 17% of the people who says that they're using only Excel. But majority of the results goes for I'm using ATS as well as Excel both, close to 70% of the results. People are still joining, people are still showing the interest. Yeah, let's keep the momentum up. So it's still on the screen, team. And we have one person who says that I don't use anything and I work on the fly. Can that person please come on a camera and give your introduction to us and please tell us how do you actually manage without even Excel or ATS? You're most welcome,
I
Mr.
must confess,
Rockstar, Mr. Superstar. Oh my God! Finally, AK sir. Yes,
you
sir.
know,
Tell us.
I must confess, okay, I still use my brain, okay, and
Awesome.
while I have invested in over a dozen ATS in the last 20 years, I can't really qualify having used them. Okay. Okay. I
Awesome.
have no clue about Excel.
You
Okay.
just paid for them,
Yeah,
right?
I just paid to keep the recruitment industry alive. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. So how do you do, sir?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, thanks to Google and thanks to parsing a lot of tools, including Rexy and stuff like that, I'm able to, because I work not on bulk assignments. I work on very niche assignments. A lot of
Hmm.
it's still memory driven. I use it more for um, reaching out because the kind of assignments that I get are very niche. And
Hmm.
to me, the shelf life of resume is zilch. Okay. So, I mean, so I'm a very unused case, but Raj also knows how I have 2 left feet. I don't understand Excel. Okay.
So AK sir has been in the industry. हमको जितना experience मतलब हमारी जितनी उम्र नहीं है उनकी उतनी recruiting में experience है. Keep it simple. अगर मुझे AK को introduce करना है आप सबको, हमारी जितनी उम्र नहीं है उतने AK सर की experience है सिर्फ recruiting में. Started somewhere in the 1980s. Seen the recruitment era of newspaper, seen the recruitment era of job boards, means big hoardings and all. seen the basically I would say seen someone recruitment era of radio to internet to keep it simple. So बीच में जो भी कुछ आया है रेडियो से टीवी, टीवी से कलर टीवी से सॉरी ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट टीवी से कलर टीवी से छोटा नोकिया वाला फोन जो मेरे हाथ में है अभी यहाँ पर आई स्टिल यूज दिस फोन most of you might not believe but mostly for the calls I use this because this is the best thing and then which went to the what we say um, soft phone not iPhone or whatever the Android phones and all smartphones and then now going to the Gen AI. This is where AK sir has seen the across journey from the radio to Gen AI. So amazing journey and have a great things to share with us. So yeah, thank you so much, sir, for joining over here. And you have made this event. Okay. So yeah, that's how AK sir uses various things. And exactly as sir mentioned, mostly the memory and they work on very niche roles. And been in the industry for this many years, as well as works like a solopreneur at Options India. You can definitely reach out to him for any help that you may require. I generally consider him as one of my mentor.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
boss, I'm listening to learn here. Okay, please don't.
Sure.
Hey,
No
but
worries. Chalo, let me
leave
cut
me
short.
one
Okay,
piece.
fine. So AK sir says they don't use, but most of the 70% of the people are telling that they use the combination of ATS as well as combination of Excel. Yeah, so here is the deal breaker. Let me end the call. Okay, everyone can see the results. So there are two people who are saying they use only ATS. There are 27 people who are saying they use ATS plus Excel. And there are five people who are saying they use only Excel. They don't use any ATS. And yes, we had AK sir saying that who don't use anything and they work on the fly. The reason being their requirements are very niche. Same here, when I work on some of the executive director or executive roles, I really don't go with ATS or any Excels or anything like that. Definitely, I keep taking a note because that's again a niche for me. I know them. I know them by name. Maybe hardly I go and submit around 3, 4 profiles such. So that's how we remember by name. But mostly for the niche role, SD2, SD3, DevOps, backend, front end, SDET, for all these kind of bulk roles, basically recurring roles where company continuously hires on and they get hired on bulk. Over there, the actual discussion is whether do we need ATS or not. If yes, why only ATS or ATS over Excel and all. So Raj and Ashutosh, I, I leave up to you from here. Both of you can drive the discussion, come up with your use cases, come up with your questions, and let industry recruiter answer your question and let's have some healthy debate. Why is that 70% of the recruiters says they're using ATS plus Excel?
I think Raj should start.
Sure, I'll take that. So yeah, I think this is something that is well known in the industry, right? That usually ATSs are used for bookkeeping purposes, right? So and just to set the context, I have also talked to like hundreds of recruiters, each of these saying that there are multiple use cases of theirs which are not being sufficed by the ATS. That's the reason why they have to move to Excel. So what we can probably do is maybe go use case wise. Would love to hear every recruiter's thoughts around like why would your ATS not suffice? And it's a combination, right? It's a combination of you adopting an ATS versus you sort of actually pushing back to your other stakeholders saying that you have to use this ATS and so on and so forth, right? So I think analytics being one of the biggest things which has come up with my interviews with recruiters as well. So would love to hear some recruiter who can just shed some light on like who's doing analytics outside of the ATS, probably in the Excel sheet or reporting kind of thing. There are multiple use cases when your hiring manager doesn't want to log in, so you'll probably create a table and send them as a weekly thing. Are there any such use cases that you are doing outside of the ATS? And folks, I think we just have four people on video. This is not
Yeah, rest
like a
others, please.
one-sided discussion. This is literally chai pe charcha with Shiv.
Yeah,
So,
I think
So it's
he's
not
over the
chat with
camera.
me. If you
Let's
want, I'll go for video, but rest others, I would really highly encourage you to come on a video, share your opinion, come
correct.
forward for the discussion. That is what we call it as open-ended discussion, ATS or Excel or both.
Yeah.
And I strictly told, like, who are not allowed? Strictly silent listeners are not allowed. Who are allowed? Who want to make some noise? Absolutely. All right.
Great. People are coming.
Ajay, you're talking on mute.
Very good, very good. I think
Hi
like we
team, hi Shiv,
Hey,
hi
Ajaz.
Raj,
Hey, just hi.
hi
Yeah.
Astashush, everybody hi.
Hey,
What's up, Ajas? Do you have some experience of yours where you're doing your analytics outside of your ATS?
No, Raj, I basically use both ATS as well as, Kipro for ATS I'm using, to just upload profile and to track, recruiter performance. And Excel as it is, I maintain in a Excel sheet, what is candidate current status, all those stuff. I keep both, handy.
Okay, got it. I think that also will come to as a second point. Maybe let's just stick on the analytics first, and then Ajas, that is one more point that good that you brought it up. We'll discuss that as well.
Sure, Raj.
Yeah,
So
so I'm using like Excel sheet, like both ATS and Excel sheet. For recruitment, I use Greenhouse. Then apart from that, like for salary benchmarking and maybe to have a track of candidates who are not added to Greenhouse, then probably I'll use Excel sheet so that I can share with my colleagues who's supporting me. So in staffing, it depends on the client need as well. So if it doesn't have an ATS, then probably like I'll go for an Excel sheet.
Got it. So you do the analytics you do outside of Greenhouse, you're saying?
Yes, yes, the salary benchmarking. So
Salary one.
yeah, when a new client comes in, so we share the market standards, like how it goes, and based on
Correct.
the location and kind of industry and kind of stuff.
Understood.
and
Yeah, I think salary benchmarking is slightly a different use case because
Mm.
ATS doesn't have that information to give you of sorts, right? You only have
Exactly.
information for the candidates which you receive.
Yes.
But any other sort of metrics that you're tracking outside of Greenhouse? I'm assuming Greenhouse has decent
No, it
number of
depends on the
metrics.
client. It for us, it depends on the client. For one client, I was using Greenhouse. For the other
Oh,
client,
okay.
it was fully Excel sheet. So how many positions we are working on? So what we have closed and how much candidates we have sent and how much was shortlisted on the first round and second round. Then how many candidates was drop out and rejected or everything, like how many days the role was open, everything was, I set it up in a function. So automatically
Got
the
it.
dates will change and kind of stuff will happen actually.
Correct. Understood. So you work as an external vendor to some companies, and this is one of the companies which you are working with where you were sending
Yes,
these reports.
I'm working for a RPO firm, so we
Understood.
have different clients depending.
Got it. Yeah, that is one more, I think, point, Shiv, that a lot of companies right now, even as a corporate recruiter, if they're working with vendors, they would have Excel trackers, like let's say 10 different vendors have different Excel trackers. And then each of these would have a structure which the agency is comfortable with, right? So now, if you think about the recruiter who's working for 10 different agencies, it becomes a mess basically, right? So and not everyone would be as good as a Excel pro that they would do pivot tables and build those charts and other things, right? So yeah, I think a sort of proposition to this is basically like work with some ATS which gives you a capability to have your vendors also on the system, right? If your vendors are on the system, Saurabh, I'll just get back to you. Just give me 1 second.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So if your vendors are on the system, what happens is now you have a single place to track all your candidates, as well as your vendors can also track some metrics, right? Of course, we can decide on what ATSs support this and other things, but then the main goal being that if you're creating 10 different trackers for every agency, you are introducing a point of discrepancy here itself, right? So let's say some agency is not as good as maintaining all the candidate statuses. And the recruiter who's working on the corporate side, they would also have to uh, in their own Excel sheet, they would be maintaining all the 10 agencies candidates as well as their careers page, their sourcing and other things. So status is duplicated in each of these sheets, right? So either they are maintaining in their ATS as well as their the trackers that the vendors are having, right? So I think I'm assuming, Jose, this would sort of solve your problem if the client itself is giving you a platform which gives you these numbers, right? Of course, you have
Yes.
built your own function.
Yes, client has a ATS, but they are not sharing it to the vendors, only they are internally using it. So we are keeping a track of things so that we don't miss out on any candidate offered or any candidate dropout, so that later on when the client, we are planning to close the contract or something, so we can show like this is the data we have, and so long we have
Correct.
made this much success and everything.
And
Yes.
there's a bigger problem to that also. In general, not just the analytics part, but for your visibility also as a agency recruiter, you don't have that visibility. So you will keep on asking that recruiter what happened to this candidate, when is the candidate's interview schedule, I'll send a reminder and so on. So all of these things are not visible to you if it is maintained in a spreadsheet. If it is just one status that the recruiter has to manage, it's simpler for them, basically, right?
Maybe one more question. This something common practice that I see everywhere, that the corporate having an ATS in place, but when they're working with multiple agencies, they don't want to that take that submissions on the ATS, but rather they just share a common Excel and ask agencies to upload the stuff in the ATS or Excel. And again, they
Correct.
do the loop check by themselves. Then again, they inform manually to
Yeah.
the agencies on an email
Yeah.
that this candidate is a duplicate, and it creates an issue of
Yeah.
a trust also sometimes,
Correct.
whether it is really duplicate or not, or from
In
which
this,
agency they received
yeah,
first. So
correct.
it really messes up everything. Let's say if I'm working with 10 different agencies sharing a requirement and asking them to add up in the tracker first and send me on an email, that for me to manually check in the Excels, it becomes difficult. And at the same time, again, I have to take 10 times the same candidate data coming from the different agency, put into the uh, ATS and check over their duplicate and again respond on the emails. So I'm actually, as being a corporate recruiter, I'm wasting a lot of time over here doing all that.
Correct.
Rather, it would be very simple for me if I can just work on certain approvals and share my ATS logins with the external vendors so that they can just check
So
the duplication with the email IDs or phone number. And if
Shiva,
it is not duplicate,
yeah.
yeah,
Shiv, I think in this case, now because I also being in the industry from last 15 years and I'm following you as well. I have worked with corporate as well as in consulting. So recently now I'm in corporate. So when I was in consulting, there was some big files still. You might be you're one of them. You worked and being a customer of them, I know Amazon and like PepsiCo, and these are the big vendors who share their credentials. But I think they follow the RPO model. That time they share that kind of ATS credentials, not for a generic one-on-one relationship point of time. But in the case when we have a proper agreement and all, I think that time they start sharing this ATS link where if you put an email ID of any candidate and if it is a duplicate, it will save your recruiter time to again
that's in
submit
fact
that.
the right practice to save everyone's
Correct.
time, not just the vendor's time, but also the internal recruiter's
Mm,
time and everyone's time there, where
correct.
I'm sharing my ATS logins, at least the vendor login to
Yeah,
the
but in the
Un-
general
vendors.
also I agree. I think every in if a company is following that, they should not have any problem. They can create one normal login for the particular company or agency.
But still,
Correct.
there are
Correct.
some companies still follows the traditional way of asking the
Hmm.
profiles on an Excel or on an email,
Correct.
irrespective of they
Agree.
have a ATS
Agree.
in place. So that's where the crux
Is
is.
is
I
there
don't know
someone
really why.
who's contending this actually? Like, let's open it up, Shiv, that way. That if is someone wanting to do it on Excel versus on an ATS system for this particular use case?
I have a Cyril raising hand. Cyril, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, hi man. Yeah, Shivil, you are not audible. Can you speak?
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Your
Uh,
voice.
Cyril, you can
Yeah,
get go ahead.
you can go ahead. You are audible now.
You are on mute,
no, no,
Cyril.
we can't hear
We
you,
Yeah,
can't
Cyril.
hear
we
you.
just few seconds back it came, but now we are not. Can you check your mic? Although we are not seeing you muted, but your
No,
voice is
we are
not
seeing
coming.
Cyril, but we can't hear Cyril.
Yeah, we are missing your voice. We
You
all
can
know
type
you.
it out, Cyril.
I think we can play dumb charades also.
We know you very well, so we want to hear you, but still we are missing your voice. Man,
Still
your
not
AirPods are
audible.
not supporting you today.
Maybe you should try
You need to
rejoining.
use a desi structure like direct mic conversation
I
from
don't
left.
have a challenge. I can talk.
Yeah, now it is.
We can
Yes,
hear
it is
you now.
better. Yeah, it's always
Apple
better
also fails.
actually.
Apple also fails sometimes. It's not.
Yeah. So I was saying, see, I've worked in the corporate for quite some time, and so based on my experience, what I can share is the major problem is most of the ATS have the integration issues. So most of the, I will not talk about the high-end ATSs, but even the basic ATS, what's the major problem is integration with smaller platforms or integration with other platforms, they have a challenge. So because of that, most of the corporate starts doing is, oh, you share the email, we will try to fetch or we will upload. That's the practice which was there. Now with the new age platforms coming in, things are changing up, but still because ATS is a huge investment for corporate, so they don't tend to change the practice. It keeps on going. So for a corporate recruiter, it's always a challenge is they have to handle email tracking, ATS tracking, all the transactions update, and all those happen. So corporate recruiters always juggle with the Excel sheets, ATS, mails, and everything up. Excels are always easy for a recruiter, is easy to track, easy to copy paste, do that. But with now few new features or things coming in, people try to use ATS more, but I still see most of the recruiters when I now as a use case also we are talking to customers and some candidates as a use case for certain things. So most of the time recruiter comeback is ATS is just do filtration work for me or trying to do the basic check and balance.
Status management.
But it doesn't do most of my work. I still have to go back on certain things. I still have to go back to mails, Excel sheet to track things up. So Excel remains my go-to place versus an ATS. Until as this transition doesn't happen, the challenge will still remain.
Got it. Is this in context with the agency interaction, Cyril, or in general you are saying ATS is not sort of
See, most of the ATS, see, I have been testing quite a lot. I have tested quite a lot. I have been exploring a lot of other options and around us. So I can say on a generic aspect from a consulting firm as well, how their ATS works and how their functionalities are and how different it is for corporate. I have seen that as well. So, most of the consulting firms or smaller recruitment firms, they will always look at the entry level ATS. They will not have those functionality integrations with the high end one. The high end one will not have with the lower end one. So that's a big challenge.
Got it. But no, I think that's a good point that you have brought, that a lot of times what happens is like, I'm telling you because this is what we have found when we do our sales calls as well as a Rexy ATS product. It's, if you think about it, recruitment is very subjective sort of thing, right? Every organization, of course, you can templatize the interview process, the status management, and so on. But a lot of times, what happens is people start implementing custom processes on top of it. So how agile your sort of ATS is versus one point is also pushing back as a ATS provider, right? That at some point in time, people start adopting bad practices and we need to start supporting those features, right? But we very candidly do tell them that these are the things that you should change in your process itself, basically. But this has been one of the challenges which we have been facing as well. But then I think what I would recommend to the recruiters is try to push your ATS provider on this, basically, right? That this is my workflow. Of course, I see Cyril smiling here. But then the point here is that once you start adopting the Excel way, it's like you are now supposed to do two different things. And
so
now you're doing.
what I can point out over here, the problem, see, the problem is the segment of ATS. It's you,
Correct.
as I said, there are high end, there are mid ones and the low ones. The low
Correct.
ones, if you go and suggest that, okay, hey, you should be customizing this XYZ functionality or feature or this thing. They said, hey, with this budget, I can only give you this much. and the mid ones will always say, oh, we can do this, but this will come under custom offering. So this will be bumping in the price. So,
correct.
So the most of the players in the HR tech space, they do the play around on the costing. or the GTM in that way. That okay, we
Correct.
have to increase our invoicing or the ARs and MRRs from the customer at this level.
Correct.
This is a base price, and on top of it, we can do that. So most of the corporate, be it a corporate, be it a consulting firm or a startup, everybody comes back. I have invested this much money for a month or a year. Why should I bump in my more cost in this? Because this is increasing my recruitment cost. Why should I do?
Correct.
So this
Correct.
is the biggest challenge in HR tech, wherein most of these platforms come or squeeze your arm saying that, okay, we want money, and customer go back, okay, you don't do anything, I'm not investing more. So that's
We'll go back to Excel, right? Yeah, I think that is that is a problem in any software tool of sorts, but recruitment is slightly special in terms of the kind of diversity it brings to the table. So yeah, agreed on that. I think I've seen people yesterday only I was talking to Shiv. There was a free ATS which one of our customers was using, and like they asked that, okay, we need to get this data. So they're like, there's no option to download your resume. So you have to do it like one at a time when there are like 5,000 resumes. And this is just for 5 roles that they did for like a month or so. And then they are just stuck with those 5,000 resumes, but then there's no way to get those resumes out of it. But yeah, I think would love to hear some counter in terms of the agency side of things as well, in case someone thinks that the Excel side of things are better uh,
Can I
for
speak?
agents. Yeah,
Yeah,
please,
Anuradha.
Anurag.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. So I've been running a recruitment firm for about 18 years now, and I've tried to implement two ATS, and I'm back to Google Sheets. The challenge I faced was that, first of all, the implementation takes about 3 to 6 months. Okay. And that's a lot of effort. And post that, and you're running a business, you're training people, you're putting systems. So it was a lot of double effort. At the end of it, by the time you sort of settle, there are a lot of hiccups. There are system problems. Probably, maybe you may say we bought a low end one. But then what happens? These companies got uh, sold. Okay. So the new owners came, and that just set us back completely. And second thing, as an agency owner, I can tell you, the costs are very high. The cost of purchasing month-on-month costs are very high. Now, does it result in output? Does it look as a value add to me? I'm not sure. Ever since Google Sheets came, I find there is live updates. We can do duplication checks and everything that an ATS does. I think Google Sheets helps me do. And probably also because I run we work on niche positions. We don't work on mass hiring. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents.
No,
So you
definitely,
see
I
that
think
Google Sheet has eventually become your ATS?
I'm sorry?
So you're saying that Google Sheet has eventually become your ATS?
It's not my ATS. It gives me data. And Shiv, on a position, we will never send more than 10 resumes. Okay.
Mm.
I'm not sending more than that. So it's actually on our fingertips. And to double it, I have the data on the position tracker. I have an interview tracker. And then, yeah, I'm pretty much done. And people can from home give me live updates. They update there, and we are running. And I don't have to train people, Shiv. Training is a lot of effort for an ATS. And then you change an ATS. That's a nightmare. I mean, um, I
No,
hope.
no, I understand, Anuradha. We understand where you're coming in from. I do agree with Anuradha. Google Sheet has been kind of a lifesaver for a lot of agencies, even for the lot of companies, not just the Google Sheet, any internal sheet kind of stuff what we maintain. It is kind of a lifesaver. Sometimes like ATS gets stuck, that doesn't work, or some upgradation is happening. That can again we fall back to the Google Sheet, and this is where I get to the discussion. That is something which got me like why ATS versus Google Sheet or both or anything. That is where we are sitting and discussing. Otherwise, Anuradha, if you wouldn't have got into the situation where you're saying that a Google Sheet is a kind of a lifesaver, I don't think we couldn't agree anymore. Otherwise, we shouldn't be doing this discussion at all. So that is still there to solve the problem in a traditional way and the most simplest way. That's what the most simplest way.
Shiv, one
Yeah.
thing here I want to say. There is
Mhm.
one place what I miss the ATS is that I don't have a database. Now, that is something that I want to probably build on my own. That I want to build my own database which resides on my own cloud, and I can, over 18 years, the amount of niche resumes in our domain that we've got, I think that's something, that wealth that I, as of now, I've not been able to have. But I'll probably, that's something, standalone database, if you give me, I don't think I need an ATS.
Got it.
Anuradha, I have one quick point on that. I think won't your Google Drive serve as a database? Can't you upload the resumes that you have in a structured format saying that these are the folders and let's say these are the specific?
I haven't tried. Probably I can. I haven't
And
tried.
Got
I
it.
think,
Because
yeah, I
Sorry?
think even I have seen in my one of my past company there in Excel also. I'm not sure because I'm not the owner of that, but there was an Excel which was purely properly maintained, and when I joined, I see the data was there for old 5 year also. So I think in Excel also there is a process of, and it is a shared with all the internal recruiters. So it's kind of a database only, we can call it. So I think you guys can put more light on it, like Shiv or Raj, who know more about it. I just had an insight, so I just share the.
Yeah, I think Anuradha, for you, the quickest fix is, of course, I am hurting my business with this, but then I think that I think if you are good with spreadsheet, you should continue doing that. If you are good with an ATS, you should continue doing that, but never do both. If you're doing both, you're doing something wrong, basically. Either the ATS is not good, or you are increasing your own work to sort of do multiple things and creating multiple copies of data, introducing discrepancies and so on. But another, I think for you, it's a very quick fix if you get all your recruiters to like upload in a structured format in a Google Drive. By the way, Google Drive is also Boolean searchable. Not a lot of recruiters know this. So,
It's coming there. In fact, we can use Google Drive like an ATS. We'll show
correct.
it
So
later in our sessions, Anuradha.
that's why I said that I'm hurting my own business. But then this is something that you should do as a spreadsheet. If you are working with spreadsheets, you should at least capitalize on that. But yeah.
Thank you. Shall do that.
So we have Jose, we have Crystal, as well as we have AK. They want to discuss something. So yeah,
Yes.
AK, you can go first.
Said me? Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I totally resonate with Anuradha, and the issue about, I mean, I can elaborate that 18 years a little more, because the problem is most of the ATSs haven't lasted as long as Anuradha and I am in the industry. Okay. So, and the technology changes so fast that everything, the specs keep changing very often. Okay. And the buy-in from a star recruiter to upload data is impossible. A star recruiter always is operationally driven. So I would feel the choice which you gave in terms of Google Sheets, it's brilliant. And so earlier, even I had 18 people and I had 2 lakhs of resumes and all that. But database is a great thing for large companies. But for agencies who are looking at unique resumes and fastest finger first, I think Anuradha's example runs through. Absolutely fine. Okay, and one more issue which he didn't mention is some of the better ATSs in the last 5 years have been also bought by Naukri and destroyed.
Crystal?
The free tools are very, very good. So actually speaking, I would love to have a bunch of free tools which can integrate it to my Google Sheet or something, and that will be the most economical and efficient
Scalable.
system.
So free tools, most economical and scalable, because we don't really have a threats of getting acquired. We don't really have a threats of technology upgrades. We don't really have a threats of cost. We don't really have a threats of implementation. We don't really have a threats of integration. We don't really have a threats of high end, mid end, low end. So oh my God, so much to own.
About to send a solution now.
So Crystal, you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I'm audible.
Yep,
Yes.
you are.
Perfect. So I think I've seen both the sides of the corporate and the agency world. While I was in while I was a recruitment vendor, right? There were times when we were literally starting the company from scratch, and therefore they gave us the whole ATS to look at. Like I was their in-house person. It was easier then. But otherwise, when I went to the corporate role and when I was working with vendors and I was working on roles, it became very, very difficult. The whole adaptation and the implementation. Not from our point of view, where I could like Danda Maro being the lead, saying that you need to pick this up, this is your day in day job. I could do that for the recruitment team. How do I do it for the team? They are just so stubborn. I mean, they, in spite of everything, we sending out reports on a weekly basis, we setting up weekly simply calls, bi-weekly simply calls and stuff from it. They will still need that Excel sheet. No matter what you do, they need that Excel live sheet in front of them, which in the sense, like no matter how much you say, hey, this is a login ID. This is like 2 minutes away. You're going to get this data. They just refuse to kind of go back to that ATS and look at the data, which essentially means no matter what, we have to go to that Excel, fill that up, which is a extra amount of time that we're wasting on doing that. But that's the end story, right? That's the reality. And the other thing that I've been facing this term of analytics is it gives me that macro view, right? It will give me a few analytics, a few dashboard reports on a very macro level. But if I have to go very deep into details in the sense that what is the time taken between each step of the interview and everything, I have to download all that data and I have to use Excel sheets, pivot tables, charts, and everything in order to be able to get that. Because that ATS just refuses to show that data for some XYZ reason. And of course,
Okay.
yeah, so that's one thing we've been encountering as a firm. And so that's why I end up doing both ATS and Excel, which is just, I do realize at the end of the day, a lot of time wasted on it.
And it comes with discrepancies also, right? You might be like
Another thing is that in our firm, it is a lot of requisitions. Basis the requisitions is an approval status, and then basis that once it gets approved, we start working on it. Right? So that means the data that they have input may also not be correct, which essentially means either we go back in and change all the data all the time, which is double work for us, or we download that Excel, change that data back in, which means a lot of data cleaning. Right?
Data
And these
cleaning.
instructions have been fed to them multiple times. In spite of that, you end up as a recruiter doing a lot of data cleaning day in, day out, which is a lot of time wasted on ATS.
correct. Yeah, I think that is the core. That's why 70% of people are using ATS plus sheets, because ATS are not serving all the use cases that you are doing. I think the quickest answer is let's talk later. But then
Like
the
Cyril
sort of
mentioned, like Cyril mentioned, ATS doesn't do most of my work. So ATS doesn't mean that it is only created right from the application stage to the interview stage or to the offer stage or to the rejection stage. ATS is not meant only for this kind of a job. ATS is meant way beyond it. Like Fizzle is mentioning, ATS is meant to get me the right analytics, is meant to get me the right data. I don't want to again download the requisition wise data and see the steps where the candidate is and again segregate it and present it to the hiring manager, which is much beyond with something. And ATS, Raj and Ashutosh Tiwari, you need to take this as a positive feedback and start implementing it in your products. To be
we
honest,
already
that is where
have
we would see.
Crystal.
Well,
Okay,
I want to
because
say one thing, because I myself started my journey as a recruitment consultant. So I also saw like closely both the sides, like as a recruitment consultant, as well as like how you feel as a corporate recruiter. Personally, I feel the same when that's why I actually started building job offers. There was no other intention, right? So I personally, so like during my time, I used to fill like 100, 200 roles on like regular basis. So we are sourcing aggressively, we are shortlisting aggressively. But to be honest, none of the tool was exactly up to the mark that I can say, okay, this is the one tool which I can rely on fully. So I need multiple tools to actually make my process easier. And I think the fundamental problem for like if I have to summarize everything, whatever we have said so far, the fundamental problem is the process. Current processes is super like I believe like processes right now, wherever they are, it's super complicated. And whatsoever tools are coming into the market, they are just making those processes more complex. none of them is exactly trying to solve it. None of them is exactly giving you that opportunity to make your existing process more easier. And I always keep this in my mind whenever I draw any feature, whenever I think and come up with any analytics, anything. I always keep this in my mind. Is this thing is gonna make my customer's life easier or more complex? So one of the quick example which I personally feel, because we have a lot of, okay, so I just quickly wanted to check how many are we corporate recruiters? Can we just raise the hands? Awesome. People who do not have, open your videos, you can use the raise hand icon in the Zoom.
Let's raise one more call.
Yeah,
How
would
many
be
of
great.
us are corporate recruiters are here, right?
Correct. I
Let's
also
do
have
that.
one more interesting question which I wanted to ask. How many
Mhm.
of us are actually using the analytics feature in our ATS? Okay, great. So these two polls will help us a lot,
Okay, how many of us are corporate recruiters?
corporate recruiters. Satish wanted to say something. Please, Satish.
Yes, Satish, you go ahead. Meanwhile, I create this poll.
Hey, so I echo with Anuradha's thoughts actually. So I am associated with a company which is just 3 years old. Okay. And we have a parent company which is already using an application. It is a suite as in it is a bundle which has both the ATS and HRMS solution. I was compelled to use that ATS. First things first, the application is dead slow. I'm sure ATS would have actually been developed as a solution to the recruiters. Ideally, it is supposed to make the lives of recruiters easy, right? You call it solution or product or whatever, be it ATS or Google Sheets or anything else that we are referring to. That application was literally testing the patience of the user. Yeah. So that is first pain point. The second is for the kind of hiring that I do, and we don't do any volume hiring. At the same time, I wouldn't say that we only have limited number of requirements. No, for the kind of positions that I have, Google spreadsheets, I mean, it works like a charm. As long as I maintain the sheets neat and ensure that every recruiter is filling the information, and if you're proficient at Excel, right, basically doing that VLOOKUPs, preparing those charts for metrics and all, I really did not see any necessity of procuring any ATS. The reason why I'm the reason why I'm seeing the demos of ATS is only for one reason. Honestly, I'm not that proficient with Excel. Just for the sake of analytics is probably why I would want to procure ATS, which means to convey that if I learn that Power BI functions, I become like expert in Excel. Trust me, even if it is 25 recs or 50 recs, I'll still be able to manage with Google spreadsheets. That's the beauty of Google spreadsheets.
Absolutely correct. And I also agree with this point, because I think the way Google created the whole suite is now more like work more efficient than any existing available solution for the recruiters. So one thing which Anuradha was telling that she never tried. So Anuradha, just for you, you can also link your existing drive links to the columns, rows, whatsoever in the sheet. You can also reference everything exactly. So it can actually work in a collaboration now. That's why Google call it like a Google Suite. So this is the beauty of existing great level products that we have, whether it's Google, Microsoft, any suite, they all created in a way that anyone can use it flawlessly. Yeah, Satish.
Also, one more thing is when a hiring manager or the leadership asks for reports, right? If you show them that 8 years, and if you over a call or be it in person, if you share them a link and ask them to go through that link for seeing the reports and all, trust me, they wouldn't have that time. They expect you to send that, you call it data or information or insights or whatever it is. They expect this information to be received over email in a simple and understandable language. I'll just give you an example. Every week, I will have to send out the weekly report to the leadership and then the hiring manager and of course my recruiting manager. They expect it to be in a Tableau format with 5 to 6 fields, not more than that. How many total number of interviews scheduled? L1 scheduled, L1 selects, L1 rejects, L2 scheduled, L2 rejects. People in manager, people who reached manager round, people who got selected in HR round. As simple as that. Anything over and beyond it, trust me, they'll skip it because they don't have the time. If the
Absolutely.
ATS is not able to pull me this information within the click of a button, trust me, I mean, I don't think it will be coming to my rescue.
Mm.
This
I think
is
Raj
this.
can answer on this because he's more into analytics, so he can tell you like what best he have. Please, Raj.
Yeah, I think Satish and I we had like a 1.5 hour discussion a couple of days back. I'll give you my thoughts on this, right? On the part where your hiring managers don't want to log in because they don't have time, trust me, they do. I have been a hiring manager. If let's say I say that people are not willing to log into Jira. Have you guys used Jira, by the way? Jira is like a project management tool for, let's say, engineering or product teams. Now, can a hiring manager say that I don't want to log into Jira, give me all the information in an Excel sheet, right? Now, it's a matter of how much a recruiter pushes back to this call, right? That, okay, I want everything in a good table format, which is what they want as a format, right? So I would probably debate on this, that probably push that back, that this is how the recruitment process works. This is the platform that we have bought. This is the information that you want. This is how you get it. Usually, you would have a unique link on each of the ATSs for specific metrics. So, let's say time to hire, time in screening stage, whatever. It depends on the ATS, of course. But once you have that information, you should just send them that link. And I have seen the power of this. If you get into this mode of sending the links whenever a recruiter or a hiring manager sends you that, okay, give me this data on an Excel, it's not your job to do it. It's not your job to fetch that data, create that Excel, create whatever metrics that they want. You have to push back saying that this is the platform. Of course, this is all given that your metrics are solved by the ATS. If not, then of course the hiring manager would come back and say that this is not solved, right? Satish, we discussed this part where if you get this information, you should be able to share that as a link, not as a email thing, right? Can you say that people don't want to log into their payroll systems to get the pay slips, right? It's just a process. It's just a process of the tool that this is how you do this. Now it depends on how much pushback you do as a recruiter and how much power do you have to say that this is something that
But
I cannot.
here I come, Raj. How much power do you have? You have a right question. How much power do you have to push back as a recruiter? This is where the most of the recruiter feel that I don't have enough power to push back to the hiring manager, stating that, hey, you know what, it is available there in the ATS, and you can log in into ATS, apply this filter, and you can take a report over here. Rarely I see
Correct.
that from the recruiters, as you mentioned, rightly called, how much power do you have? That is something spot on. How much power do you have? Most of the recruiters do not have really that much of power to the push back to the hiring manager saying that you take a report from uh, the system. But yes, the same hiring manager, when they wanted to make a use
Join.
case around the recruiter, when they wanted to fire that recruiter, that person is going to sit on an ATS, pull out the entire data and show it up.
And
When the
same way,
recruiter has
Exactly, right? It's
sorry
just a
to interrupt,
login.
Shiva.
You
We
save the
even we use
password
this
and you log.
when we have. Sorry, I was just interrupting, but it was an interesting. I'm pretty sure you guys like it. When a recruiter want to get the person hired, that time also we all go and use all our if and buts and full power to convince the hiring manager. No, no, he's a right fit. Please get him. Although we know if he didn't join, fireback will come to us. But at least that time we try to attempt that.
I have a
Please
very
listen to
good
us.
counter to that
So
as well, Saurabh.
this is something has to be driven from the entire recruiting org, not from the single
Correct.
recruiter. It has to be driven from the entire recruiting org, where recruiting manager has to support the entire team, stating that if any hiring manager is asking the reports, then please let them know that this is how the process of the reports has to be get done. But here, my manager itself won't support me in that. If
Ano-
I go and give a gyan to my manager is going behind me. Come on, you are here to give the report. You're not here to give them a gyan. They are your stakeholders.
So, Shiva, I want to add here with many of our customers, we collaborate on Google Sheets. So, we give them access or they give us access. And so, there's only one sheet maintained. and it works beautifully. With US clients, they can see when they want, they put a comment, candidate selected, shortlisted, etc. So that collaboration feature is very good. Ashutosh, on your point, I love playing with Google Sheets features. So I have in my daily recruiter report, any recruiter who does more than they are expected to, it turns to green, and then or if you are less, it becomes red. I just love that feature, and it encourages people. So that's Google Sheets is amazing that way. And it throws up charts and offer trackers. So I will use an ATS if it adds value to me. Instead,
Correct.
I can hire two recruiters. I can
Yeah.
pay two recruiters' salary in a month.
Correct.
As a
Completely agree.
business person, I see that, right?
Yes.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
And one more thing I want to add in this, like if we look, so whatsoever we have discussed so far, in one line, if I have to summarize it, the reason why hiring managers and like others are not logging into ATS and looking into the reports, what I feel is because it's not easy to do it. It sounds like there is 2, 3 steps.
Friction.
Technically, it's very, very complex. So the why we are happy to do it on Excel, we just need to open one link and everything will be in front of our eyes. This is the kind of ease we want as a user when we are using any product. So this is one thing which we actually focus a lot while building job offers, that if you are coming to dashboard, you should see your pipeline very clear. I am not a big fan of fancy charts and all these things. What I believe is, as a recruiter, are you getting your numbers or not? One thing. Second is when you are moving to other stages. So at job offers, we cater three major components. One is pre-screen, second is interview summarization, and third one is the offer management. So in pre-screen, what we have is, let's suppose if you have 1,000, 2,000 resumes uploaded, and we will prioritize resumes for you. Now, as a recruiter, whenever you will look into any resumes detailed report, you will automatically, the stage status will change and it will automatically move to the second stage, that okay, now its profile is already viewed. You do not need to do it that manual drag and drop. This is one, like these are like very fine details which we care about a lot while building the product. And the reason is because when I was a recruiter, I hate doing that, right? I don't like to drag and drop because everybody is doing it. I'll do the same. No, I'm not that kind of guy. And that's why I changed this approach in our product. And same with the thought process. I think power will be always an issue. I think specifically in this case, where we have to chase our hiring managers and senior people, recruitment leaders, that please use the technology, because we as a recruiter spending a lot of time. I was in a conference recently. I don't know, probably some of you were there. Uh, so that conference is all about TA, like how talent acquisition is growing, what we were having in like before 20 years, now what we have as of now. One thing which I personally feel when I was there talking about the product, people are interested to know about product, but they are not very aggressive to adapt it. Probably there can be a lot of reasons. I don't know why, what, but they are not. Second is, if we as a recruiter making our life easier, it will eventually, upgrade the organization performance also. We will optimize the performance. Our closer rate will improve drastically. Our sourcing to hire ratio will improve drastically. Our KPIs will look like a very good rocket, which is flying without any hurdle. But the reason why we are not implementing technology, I personally we believe that we are we sort of have a skepticism. I'll say not in this way. I'll say that we have some that social bias in ourselves, that we do not want to use it because it will either change the way we are doing things or probably we lose authority as a leader. So I think rather than positioning, yeah, Shiv.
Okay, please go ahead. We lose authority. I was taking that thing
Yeah.
to the
So
point.
generally, we feel it as a human that if we'll allow any tool to take our position, probably we'll lose the authority. These are like very fine lines. Generally, people do not understand while building product, selling product, being working in organization also, that okay, my senior manager will say that, oh, now you want to take my job, you can do better than me. So these kind of things actually arise, right? So I think we should change the way we approach to our recruiters, I like the senior managers, senior leaders, rather than telling them, okay, we are not taking your authority, we'll show them how you will become more powerful when you will use the platform or any system. It's all about just a right framing or positioning. And I think I'll give credit to our society that the way we all grown up, we have this kind of social pressure all the time over our heads that we do not want to accept it that something better can work with us, right? So, but yeah, it's a matter of time. The way generation is growing up, people are actually understanding adaptive technology. It's just a matter of time. People will understand it that using technology can actually optimize and enhance your existing processes rather than it will change.
Exactly. It should bring in efficiency.
Yeah.
Recruiters should see efficiency. When we implemented, every time I was pushing people to use ATS as if I was the salesperson of ATS. Why should I? Right? So people should see I have used it, it helps me, not
Yeah.
increasing my work. So that's if
Absolutely.
you can build, then it'll work. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one more thing, I want to share my own experience. So I had a demo with one of the client. I'll not disclose the name. And you guys will not, they were having like 25 recruiters in the team. I was super excited that finally our product will get this level of exposure. It was very early days of job offers. You will not believe the response I get back from the client. He said to me that none of my team member is using your platform. I was like, why? So he told me that probably they are happy with the existing system or they do not want to switch. And this makes me think a lot that why this is happening, why people are not wanting to do it. Like my ultimate goal is to make their life more easier. Then I realized that in our process, we were giving one thing which was super manual. We changed that and we see a very drastic adaptation change. People started using the platform. So these minute things, while either you are building a product or even you are a recruiter itself, like whenever you are using a product, you always look for efficiency. You always look for more mode of ease, specifically when you are building your product, right? Or when you are using any product. What you want is you want to make your work easier. You want to drive, you want to give more outcome to the leadership. You want to drive organization more faster. And I think we all are working very, very hard, specifically awesome stat. So we 50-50. Thanks a lot for being very loyal and true in this poll
Both
that
the
only,
cases 50-50. Agency
yes,
recruiter, corporate recruiter, almost 50-50. Who
this is
uses
amazing.
analytics on ATS, that's again a 50-50. So we
Yeah,
have a mix of people.
amazing, amazing. So, okay, Supriya wanted to say something. Supriya
Yeah,
and
Supriya.
Cyril. Yeah, please.
Yeah, hi. I'm audible?
Yes,
Yes.
you are.
Okay. So I just wanted to keep this point, like how it is useful for us as a recruiter. Similarly, there should be a session with the hiring managers also, like how it is useful for them and how they can actually get uses, right? If it is useful, it will like if it reduces their efforts, right? Where the process is going on, it can be to the particular candidate or to that particular requirement also, if they can go and check on their own, like instead of interacting with the HR directly, if they can go and check on their own and how they can use it, if that is implemented and why they should actually go with it, what are the use cases that they have, then for sure if it is useful for them, they will definitely use it, and they will also ask for the implementation of the ATS in the company, right? If it is useful for them and if they have good understanding as to how it is used, not just for us recruiters, if it is from their perspective, if they like it and if it is useful, for sure implementation will be on a greater extent. Not just recruiters, it should be the hiring managers calls also, because they do have a higher stake compared to us in the system, right? So I just wanted to put this point across.
So you're
This
spot
is
on,
an
Supriya.
excellent, yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is Supriya, you're actually spot on. Not just the ATS, I'm saying any recruitment process also, without having a calibration call with the hiring manager is super failure. So we should, before even starting on any of the requisition, one is that the calibration call with the entire team and the interviewers at the same time, but not just the hiring manager, also the interviewers. And you have nailed it, Supriya, that it's not just the recruiter who is responsible to get trained on the ATS, but also the entire hiring team which is involved in the recruiting process. And
Correct.
that's something which is a part of a calibration call, which has to be there in the industry. Otherwise, it's super failure. Yeah,
In
Cyril,
general,
you want to
also,
say
I
something?
would say, yeah, sorry, Cyril, just let me wrap up on Supriya's point. So, Supriya, on this is so immensely valuable input that you have given that every recruiter should ensure, let's any other stakeholders, either in the onboarding or in the decision making, they should be involved. Right now, only recruiters are coming to the demo calls, taking and opting for it. Why? Because ATS is not just for recruiters. ATS is for hiring managers, for vendors, for interviewers, for your leadership team who's going to review the reports. If you're not involving them, later you would find that, okay, some use case is not getting filled. I'll give you one example. Interviewers, if they're not filling feedback on the ATS and sending you over Slack or email, it's again not your job to update that on ATS. You give them a link. This is the link where you submit your feedback. If you're not giving, you are doing their work and nobody else is noticing this. You are just thinking that you are doing extra work, but nobody else is noticing that you are doing someone else's work. So you'll have to push back slightly that this part, this is the link, you please add it here. And it's just one login. If you think about it, if you log in as a saved password, it's not as many steps as you would think. But of course, depends on the ATS provider. But then the idea here is that recruiter should be aware what part of the entire ecosystem is your job versus someone else's job, basically, right? But yeah, still, sorry,
Absolutely. No, you're spot on, Raj. It's in fact the job of the entire hiring team, not just the recruiter. Here, recruiter is only not hiring. The whole hiring team is
correct,
hiring. It's not only recruiter who is hiring. Recruiter is not interviewing on algorithm, data structure, and system design. All right, so it's the team's job to insert the feedback, use the ATS for its maximum efficiency.
we were doing one podcast where one of the TA leaders said that if a role closes later, it's not the recruiter who is going to burn, the hiring manager is going to burn. Because hiring manager's team is not getting that person. So it's very important that recruiters realize this. That
Exactly.
it's if a role gets closed later, it's hiring manager's problem. Cyril,
Exactly.
please, you have been waiting for long.
No, that's totally fine. So what I wanted to also add is, as Shiv rightly said, most of the recruiters don't at an entry level or till mid level, they don't have the so-called super authoritative rights to go back to hiring manager and say that, hey, what we sharing is the right approach. You should do that. So and because everybody follows the same process, whatever hiring manager is saying, listen to it. Ji huzur, okay huzur,
Kar
we'll,
lenge.
we'll get the work done. So because of that thing or mentality, it doesn't work out. So that's one problem. Second, as it was rightly pointed out, uh, on most of the ATSs or so-called tools are given with a thought of, oh, this is my user, for him we have to build up. But it's never built with a thought of what all
Every
users are there. So analytics, which was asked. So I have implemented in my previous organization analytics on hiring, wherein on a go we were able to send an email communication or a weekly reports, a monthly report to the BU heads, the hiring managers, or the leads who are there in the hiring process, who are interviewing candidates. So we send them notification through as an analytics. Hey, there is a candidate who's sitting in your lab for last couple of days or weeks, wherein you have not given a feedback. Oh, this is
correct,
your hiring track and update, wherein on your dashboard, this position which you are hiring, this is the situation for how many days it is pending. So we created a dashboard for them and sent. So the BU head could never put a gun on our head saying that, hey, recruitment team, why you didn't do that? My boss
correct,
was like, get this done. I don't want any further screw up. I don't want anybody coming on my head with guns saying that your team is not efficient enough to fulfill the roles. So we were
correct,
able to do that. So most of the even sophisticated big ATSs, biggest challenge is analytics. They are never structured or built with the thought of what the recruiter needs, what is the hiring manager needs, and they're never
correct,
built with that. So even customizing a report, it's like crazy. So I have done it, so I can say with a full pleasure I have got it done. But many people have this challenge. Many even TA leaders you talk to in the industry, they will always come back. Most of the ATS are not proficient or efficient enough to help us do that. We have to download an Excel sheet, then our MIS team person will sit and create pivots and trackers and all those and send across to hiring. So that's the biggest problem which is there. So
correct.
so we all talk about, oh, we want this, we want that, but on the ground realities, most of the platforms have this challenge.
I have one point. Yeah, please, another. Go ahead.
I disagree that the hiring manager should become a part of ATS and watch. A hiring manager has to approve, I mean, different systems, leave system, your travel management system, your ERP system, your procurement, your POs. And why should I log into, if I'm a hiring manager, why should I log into another system? I should run a business, I should manage my team, I should run revenues, or do I keep looking into systems? So I don't think it's achievable unless you have a over enthusiastic hiring manager who has a lot of time to come to
Brother, I'm not trying to defend or trying to get into the defensive mode, but to be honest, I have been with a larger organization, I have been with a mid organization, but I'll always say this. It's not about uh, logging into a system. It's about how the system ecosystem is built around that. Okay, you get notifications.
Yeah, it should be
If you
integrated, no,
have the
Cyril?
priority, you can go back. So if
Cyril, it
hiring
should
is
be
never a
integrated. Your
no,
system
no, no.
should be integrated. Your
So
login.
that's what I said. Most of the ATS have a problem. It's not integratable with everything.
It's not solving experience for every stakeholder,
Yeah, these
basically.
Exactly.
standalone systems are quite a challenge.
So and to be honest, I will on your statement, why should I log in a hiring manager, wherein I have to do look at PNL and all those. Hiring is a big challenge for them. They need that resource
You need
on
to.
their team to be or that role to be fulfilled in time. Otherwise, they have a bigger business impact.
Cyril, for that you are there. You are
So
running
we
the
are
recruitment engine.
so
You should
okay.
run it well. I mean, those are the replies I have heard. I was running another department. Now that's your job. If you have an
So
escalation, bring it to me as a
I'll
hiring.
tell you, these people will always come back. Business guys will always say that
Anurag, I have a question
recruitment
for you.
team is a cost center. They never treat it as a support function, which is equipping them to fulfill the role.
Correct.
Okay,
So
Anuradha.
in those questions that
Yeah,
sorry,
sure,
sir?
go ahead. No, just go ahead, Cyril. After that, I have a question for Anuradha.
Yeah. So as I was saying that, so because of that, the biggest challenge is it's not the recruitment team's role only to fulfill the role. They are here to support the business. They are here to
Absolutely.
facilitate and get things done.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it is always a recruiter, a hiring manager, and there could be a TA head role.
Interviewers.
Yeah. So
So
to
if
understand, it's a mixed process. It's a
so if you are stuck,
collaboration between everyone. It
so
can't
it
be.
is recruitment is an engine that you are driving. And if you are stuck, you have to escalate to the right people that look, my engine is stopping because of you. Beyond that, I don't think, I think the recruitment owner has to drive it.
Another, I'll give you one more point. Basically, recruiter is orchestrating the process. Recruiter is not owning the hiring of it. Recruiter is more of facilitating the entire operation. But hiring manager,
Recruiter has a boss, right?
yeah,
So
of course,
the boss
recruiter
Okay,
has a
Anuradha, to keep
TA.
it simple. Okay, everyone, just to keep it simple. Let's say hiring manager is going to hire a software engineer and say, uh, Shiv, this is the role, a software engineer. Please go ahead and get me the candidate and onboard the candidate. So am I going to interview on algorithm, data structures, and system design, me being a recruiter? Is that my job? But you're saying it's my job. Hiring is my job. So I will be responsible. I'll take the all KT from the hiring manager, teach me how to take interview
Shiv,
on algorithms, data
that's
structure, and
not what
system
I meant.
design.
That's not what I
Let
meant.
me take the
You
interview.
own the recruitment piece. You have to manage your way like a project manager, get your resources and get the engine going. If you're stuck,
Exactly.
take it to the right people.
Another
Right?
also
Take it
same
to
way
the right people. Now,
what Shiv
comes
said,
to
I'll also add this.
comes to inserting a feedback. You are a hiring manager now, taken a system design interview. Who is responsible to insert a feedback in the system? Interviewer or a recruiter?
Obviously, interviewer.
They have to log in the system then.
So we are on the same side, Anuradha. It's just that you have to see it as part of the process, and everybody is part of the process. The ownership is, of course, with recruiter because that coordination is what recruiter is doing. But someone has to play their part in that full cycle. And to also add a point on Cyril's thing, right? That the analytics side of things. A lot of recruiters worry about TAT, right? So TAT is my 40 days, 30 days, whatever this is. Now, are you having that information that out of 30 days, 10 days were spent in screening, either the recruiter screening or hiring manager screening? If you have that information, then you can go back to him or her and say that 10 days you didn't give me the feedback on the profile.
Come
What
to
do
the
I
last
do
point.
about it?
And coming to the last point, decision making. Is that recruiter is going to make a decision based on the feedbacks? Or is that the entire team is going to make a decision based on the feedback? It's an entire team, right? So it's an entire team efforts. It's an entire team process. It's not one man show.
I
Okay.
just want to
So
add
yeah,
to this the
we have
fact
last
that
10 minutes.
when they
Yeah, please.
the fact that when they raise these requisitions, it is so late, and then they expect कि ये 10 दिन में हो जाए close. Like we have a market of people people on the footpath walking, looking for a job kind of a scenario. It's like all they'll raise it at the last moment. What we call a red on start matrix, right? I've been asking, I've been told to make these matrix up, and I'm like, you're giving me literally 2 days to bring this person. Where do you expect me? उनको notice period नहीं होता है क्या? मतलब these are the things you're already aware of. You know they have notice period. There is a certain time that this particular interview will process no matter what you do, no matter how many hours you put in for the week. It's not that it will fly away, right? Why are you waking up so late to these things? You know your business needs this. You know it's an emergency. It's just
I had this interesting
I just
challenge.
never understand.
I've gone through this interesting challenge back in 2019 while I was at Amazon. That it was a quarter four, and we have to fill 30 SD2s in that 3 months, in that 90 days. And if the business is not going to fill that 30 SD2s in that 90 days, business will lose the headcount. So I have made a plan. I've charted the plan where every single back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, we had an event. Business told business told me one thing. Chef, don't you think this is a very aggressive plan? I said, we are trying to achieve aggressive goal, then we need an aggressive plan. I'm ready to come this 90 days without even one single day break. Is the entire team ready? If the answer is yes, we'll be able to achieve. If the answer is no, we'll not be able to. Because I can't take Algo DS
Yeah,
interviews.
interviews we cannot take. Correct. Technical interviews has to be taken by technical.
So
I think in
literally, I
this,
made run the
yeah,
entire team. There were days,
yeah.
I think in 2019, last quarter, I think there was a verdict of Bakri Masjid. Even on that day, I had my candidate sitting in office. I booked the cab for every single candidate for 24 hours. There was an election in Karnataka. I told, ठीक है बैंगलोर में नहीं तो हम हैदराबाद में करेंगे इवेंट ले दिया पूरे बिजनेस को हैदराबाद सो बिजनेस को इन्वॉल्व करना चाहिए मेरे अकेले का जॉब नहीं है तभी हम जाकर अचीव है
Correct,
नहीं
correct.
तो अदरवाइज इट्स
Actually, I
इम्पॉसिबल
think इसमें जैसे कि अगर आप लोग what I understood कि Raj and Ashutosh are in the ATS thing or something they are building. So what we missed it in the whole this thing when we automate the process, there should be whenever the process starts. I think the change should go to till the hiring manager. So whenever most of the time, what happened when we fill any position, we lack in getting the feedbacks. So that's where the date got. And the developers say no, we have a project working, so we will fill it later, but we need a return feedback. So for that reason, at least the hiring manager should get the pop-up at every 10 seconds.
I think sir we are kind of losing you maybe
Hello.
that's fine we have last 7 minutes so takeaways mostly most of the recruiter feels that um, main okay starting from the beginning if I have to showcase the pain points of the recruiter are kind of integration issues, corporate working with agencies using Excel, but not exactly corporates are providing them access to the ATS so that they can do a dupe check and all everything and submit a candidates. Then comes to budgeting, high-end ATS, mid-end ATS, lower-end ATS. Lower-end ATS fails in a trust, wherein mid-end ATS comes in a custom offering, wherein high-end ATS comes in a budgeting, that is, again, implementation of an ATS, training on the ATS, setting up the expectations, acquisitions. Some ATS does good, but get acquired by some other company. Then again, there my system broke. Then cost is something which is consistent across. Then Google Sheet, which is giving me the live update. Then technology updates is another challenge for me. UI changes, UX changes, technology changes. That's another challenge. ATS flow. Not every ATS is actually trying to solve the all my work, rightly called by Cyril, and then not many people are using ATS for analytics. 50% of people say that they never seen the analytics on ATS. So definitely that is something which is missing in existing ATSs or most of the ATSs. Then acquisition-wise analytics, data cleaning. A recruiter is again always involved in cleaning a lot of data while sending up the report. ATS is not doing that particular job. That is the reason again they're shifting back to the Google Sheet or a sheet. And then there are so many problems, fundamental process related problem. Every company has a different process. Then hiring manager, having the time from the hiring manager, where hiring manager do not really have that much of time to log in into system and see the report of the particular job requisition. But at the same time, same hiring manager has a time if they wanted to fire a recruiter. Right? Okay. And so many stuff. How much power do you have again? Being a recruiter, how much power do you have to push back to the hiring manager? So it's not just the recruiter, it's an entire recruiting team efforts that is going to sit together, and here recruiting managers has to be aligned with the recruiting team and give that flexibility to help them understand that what is recruiter responsible for and what is recruiter not. And analytics definitely we discuss. People should see the efficiency rightly called by the Anurag and a lot of people. Like I'm ready to use ATS. I'm ready to come down from my traditional Google Sheet or traditional sheets to the ATS until unless it is efficient for me, until unless all thing is at one place for me. And then calibration is one another thing, which is again a challenge where rightly called by the Raj. A lot of people, a lot of recruiters comes into the demo call, but it's not only the recruiter should be coming into the demo call, it's the entire hiring team which should be coming into the demo call, understanding the product as a org, not as a recruiter. Understanding the ATS as a org, not as a recruiter, which is very, very crucial, right from the scheduler, right from the recruiter, right from the hiring manager, right from the interviewers, and the entire team of people who are involved in hiring this particular person. But if I'm looking at only one persona and if I'm building a ATS for that only one persona for a recruiter, then definitely I'm not really solving the OR problem. I have to solve the OR problem through this ATS. That is something where we come to the conclusion. Don't we, yeah, finally that's where the conclusion comes in. Don't build the ATS for one particular person of a recruiter, rather build the ATS for the whole OR persona. So yeah, that's overall the data points that we discussed till now. Anyone wants to add some crucial points?
I think just one correction on your summarization, Shiv. So what I mean by getting everyone on the demo call is, if not the demo call, once you are finalizing on something, get them to an onboarding call at least. This is how you use the
Definitely.
platform basically, right?
Yeah.
Of course, if they are not having time to log in, I'm pretty sure they don't have time to attend all the demo calls also.
No, no. I mean to say the same onboarding call,
Correct,
maybe demo call, maybe only decision makers would come in a demo call. But
correct,
overall, if I
correct.
need to see the success in a ATS, one is that ATS companies who are building an ATS build it for the whole org. At the same time, any org who is onboarding an ATS will adopt it as a whole org. Don't just recruiter be sitting on the ATS or only hiring manager be sitting on the ATS. It's a whole org which has to adopt it. So that's where the
Correct.
conclusion comes in. And that is where we'll see the ATS
And if
being successful.
someone and
Otherwise,
if
we'll
someone
still
is
keep going back
yeah,
to
correct.
the
And
Google
if
Sheet.
someone is still building it, then they should do more research and try to see what are the still loopholes, which we have already discussed in 1 hour. So they can get some insights from the loopholes that still a lot of automations are pending and we are missing. That's why still we are happy to use the non-traditional way like Excel and all that. So all those things also they should keep in mind. Okay, definitely when they talk for a demo, they discuss with the concerned company, but they should keep in mind from the global perspective, not from the single company wise, because single wise then definitely that customization come into the picture, that okay, what features you need we will do it. But when they presenting from a global perspective, they just can do more research. They can take a live example of, because examples are available even for and when they are investing the product companies, how they do with they research, they do a research work, they buy the products which are already in market, they can do some such kind of a research and see where they are lacking.
Right. Jos, you want to say something?
I had decided
Okay.
to.
Just a second. Jos, you want to say something?
Yeah, so like it completely depends on the mindset. So I've also worked with a company who doesn't use a ATS or even Excel. They have notepads. So you have to call to the company, reach out to the
Great.
candidates. You're not supposed to use LinkedIn or any job boards. Till now, they are using that, the same method, the old traditional method. So there
They
are
are
still
playing with the
companies like
fire.
that. Yes, exactly. That too in the international market, not the Indian one. In the international market, they are still working on that module only. I'm not I don't want to specify the company name, but yes, they're having a
No
notepad which
worries.
is given to the recruiters. Only you have to note the number and you have to reach out to the company, map the candidate, map the team. Like that too in like the roles will be like plastics, polypropylene, like recycling, those kind of industries. Yeah. So
Yeah, Anuradha, no
Anuradha, you
worries.
had a point.
No, so one of the ATS we were trying to buy, everything was set, it looked good. Last minute, we realized that every system must have Microsoft Outlook. Everybody must use Microsoft Outlook. Now
Yeah.
that became a bottleneck for me because some of my systems had pirated software. And then so, such things, because your system has some prerequisites, so that becomes a bottleneck for the people who have to use it. Yeah.
Great point.
Correct.
ATS has some prerequisite that again still becomes a bottleneck for some of the companies to implement it.
Correct.
So yeah, last 2 to 3 minutes, maybe Raj, you can talk about your product, and after that, Ashutosh, you can talk about your product. After that, rest of us, if you want to just connect with the Raj or Ashutosh, want to see the implementation or how exactly their product works, feel free to get in touch with them. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
just summarize it, everything, and share it over the email to everyone.
Awesome, awesome. Sounds good. I think we stretched 1.5 hours when we discussed about 1 hour, and good debate. A bit about our product. We have multiple products into recruitment space, each gathered toward productivity. The product's name is Rexy. I think I should have changed my name to Raj Rexy, but then find me on LinkedIn. With ATS, our goal is, as we discussed, every single stakeholder is on the platform. We go beyond and say that on our landing page, it says zero spreadsheets guaranteed. That's the exact sort of thing that we want to do. That if everybody is on the platform, you don't have to manage external spreadsheets, basically. And we also launched one more spreadsheet add-on, which I think Shiv was very interested in. So that is the reason that we also went to the recruiters, because the recruiter doesn't want to go outside of spreadsheets. So what we did is we built an add-on in the spreadsheet itself where you can just automatically categorize your candidates into top company, top institute, open source enthusiast, so on and so forth. So would love to talk more in case someone's interested. But yeah, I think a very interesting space. Everybody's trying to solve for productivity, and the biggest challenge right now, which I see, is I think the recruiter themselves realizing that this is not their work, or this is not something that they should be doing day in day out, right? So you should look for productivity tools. Free, I think Shiv has a good curated list of a lot of free tools as well. So I think use those free tools, but start realizing that a lot of times the work that you're doing is not yours, or probably you can do it in a better way. And if you want to chat, consult, see if how your recruitment process can be improved, let's connect over WhatsApp or on LinkedIn and discuss that. Yeah.
Great.
All good from my end. Shiv.
Thanks, Raj. Thanks for your time. Yep.
Well,
Ashutosh,
I want to show 1 minute video if we all are okay.
absolutely. No worries.
So I think like you just need to give me host permission so that I can share the screen.
Absolutely. You all give us time. We all give you time.
It's literally lovely, talking to specifically topic like these because these are like very controversial topics. You cannot go out on social media and can say, okay, we are a ETS fan or we are a spreadsheet fan. But I think, yeah, it's a good debate, though. Like we learn a lot. Specifically, I understand a very great perspective, specifically in terms of understanding right way how exactly people are seeing the solution. So this is what we do at job offers. uh, so it's a 1 minute video. Hope you guys will get to know about us.
You'll have to share sound also. In that case, Raj, or you can share a link also in the group. You're pretty much there in the group. A lot of people are from the group itself, but that's completely fine. Let me see if there is an option to share a sound. I think you'll have to go on a share and click on share a sound. Raj, you have to go on a share on a Zoom and click on share a sound.
Ashutosh, Ashutosh.
Sorry, Ashutosh.
So this is about us, what we do at job offers, primarily focusing, to solve the biggest problem, which is the user experience part, specifically on the recruiter side, specific as well as on the, leadership aspect also. But ultimately, because I was a recruiter, I faced a lot of problem while using existing solutions. I always feel super tired using all of them. So I thought like, why don't I build one which is super classic, easy to use, so that now as a recruiter, I can screen any candidate in less than 50 seconds. I can, get summarized interview in less than 2 minutes, and I can release offer in less than 2 minutes. So this is the whole goal with job offers as of now. If by any chance you guys feel that we can add value to your existing process, or you can optimize your existing process, I'm just one call, one message away. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and WhatsApp. Happy to connect. Thanks a lot.
And one last ask from both of you, Raj and Ashutosh.
Yeah.
Let me know if it is possible. Anyone joining from Sourcing Express community, if you have some special offers for them.
Yeah, definitely. We are happy to give. Like, I'm
Great,
okay.
awesome. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. Thank you everyone for being over
200
here.
credits.
Great. So Raj
Whatsoever
announced 200 credits.
credit Raj will give, I'll give double of it.
Awesome. Great competition.
Come on,
Great.
Raj, double it. Raj, double it.
Yeah.
We
Make it
provide
500.
value.
Make it
We
500.
provide value.
Great, awesome.
1 year subscription for 10 recruiters free from Raj.
Yeah.
Doubles it.
Yeah.
Since you asked Anuradha for you, done.
So then we don't get into competition. Let's grow together. Let's help together. This is what the call is all about. Just to understand from the industry point of view, what are the pain points of recruiters in using ATS versus Excel, or why both? So as I mentioned, definitely not a sales or anything, but yes, collaboratively learning from each other's, growing together and helping each other. That's the call is all about. Thank you for everyone for being over here.
Shiv, before you go, isn't
Yeah.
ATS supposed to have two viewpoints? One ATS for the corporates and one way how agency looks at an ATS. There are two different products, right?
It is. Another, currently we cater to corporate audience. Usually the ATSs themselves would also tell you that this is for agencies, this is for corporates basically. But it's drastically different. You should be able to manage your clients in a separate way versus someone who doesn't even have a concept of clients basically. But yeah.
In our case, we have option that organization can give free access to their agencies and vendors also.
Correct.
No, but I have a point. But when we work as a corporate, right? So in corporate also there is a client. So when you're giving an ATS, you're giving an automated solution at the end, right? So in agency, they can have the client list of the companies like Amazon, Flipkart, whatever XYZ, the customers. And in companies like Amazon, they can have the XYZ, like suppose their customer is Messi or anything, like the e-commerce customer and customer, whatever. So that is their customer list. And in for agencies, so I think the product could be same, but yeah, it can be named as an agency and all. It's just my point.
Again, Saurabh, here we are not talking about the CRM, we are talking about the ATS, which is solving the problem till the hiring process. So till the hiring, it's only between the agency and the company, not company and beyond the company, please. Let's solve till here first, then we'll go beyond that.
Correct.
All right. So thank you everyone for each one of your contribution. As I always say,
thank you.
Let's learn together, let's grow together, let's collaborate together, let's help each other.
As you
Thank
always
you, everyone.
made a point.
Awesome.
It's always a great connecting with team all the time whenever Shiv connect for such sessions. Thank you very much. You made our weekend happier.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Good night. Have a
It's a great weekend
Thank you,
session.
Shiv. Bye.
We all
You
enjoyed.
too, bye.
Happy weekend to
Cheers.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Happy weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Happy weekend.